Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So in all honesty, the one thing that I do believe is the biggest limitation factor on people's farms actually growing big and expanding and literally becoming unstoppable is one thing: the labor force. Now, as you might already know, starting and running a farm in itself inherently is a labor intensive thing. I mean, I've talked about this multiple times on the channel, but it requires a lot of work. It requires a lot of work up front. You need to be very focused. Farming in itself, as the nature of work that it is, really requires a lot of labor. So if you're going to start a farm and grow big and expand and become really successful, there's no way you're going to be doing it alone. Yeah, when I started out, I wasn't really working alone. I had one guy to help me, but I was doing most of the technical stuff and all the work literally alone. Now, that is one thing that a lot of people who are starting farms still get wrong. Yeah, they still do believe that they inherently and fundamentally need to be involved in the actual running or the day-to-day activities of the farm for it to be successful. And that can only be done while something is small. I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of business that you're running, you can only be running the inherent day-to-day activities of managing a farm or a business once it is small. But the moment you start growing and expanding and becoming really big, that stops happening. Now, usually the way most farmers actually do it all around the world is that you will find that, they start a farm, usually one person or, maybe with their family or with a friend. They'll start their farm, and then when they do decide to hire, they'll be like, who can we hire? So they'll think about a friend, yeah? Because honestly speaking, farming work is not so technical. I mean, it doesn't require you to have gone to school and studied some very complicated stuff for you to do stuff on a farm. That is one. But number two, because we've grown up with that kind of mindset, I mean, people have grown up in communities and in families where everyone is just doing farming work. For me, for example, when I was growing up, I didn't grow up in a farming family, but every time I would come over here, because, I mean, this farm is in a location which is like my ancestral area. That's why I decided to buy land, this exact farm. Around this area, every time you come around, I would see people, going to the garden, people digging, some people keeping chickens, everyone doing this kind of stuff. So what we all imagine and what we all think is that, this is something really easy. This is something really simple. This is something that anyone can do. Yeah. So when people do decide to actually start a farm and they do start a business, the first thing that's going to cross your mind is, hey, I'm going to get my neighbor, or I'm going to get my friend, I'm going to get this guy who is struggling. I mean, I've personally talked to people, and when you ask them about how their farm is running, they'll tell you that, hey, I've started my farm, so there was a guy who was around the area. He seemed to be, a really good guy, very hardworking guy. He puts in all the effort. And so I noted that I think this guy can really do the work. I mean, he can help me around with the work. So I told him that, I'll teach you. The guy seemed really faithful. He seemed to be, someone who learns quickly. I was like, okay, I'll let him run the farm, I'll give him instructions, tell him to do the work around, and that's how they start. Now, it's crazy, and most probably you hear yourself in this, because this is how most farms actually start. This is how most farms are run, yeah? If it's not a friend, it is someone related to you, someone in the family, or a neighbor, someone around. And I'll tell you the honest truth. That is the biggest limiting factor to your farm succeeding, yeah? If you want your farm to succeed, then you need to think about it as something really different, yeah? Tell me, you just let me know. If you, for example, imagine you are not doing farming, yeah? And you decided to do an engineering company, yeah? You decide to start an engineering company. So you're going to be constructing people's houses, so you're going to need architects, you're going to need, all this kind of stuff. I mean, when we were young, we used to build houses out of soil and all that kind of stuff. Would you, in your sane, normal mind, wake up one random day and tell yourself that, hey, I've started my engineering company and I'm going to hire my friends? I mean, they know how to build. I mean, I've seen guys in the village building, random houses. I'll just get this guy, take him over here. I'll hire my father, I'll hire my brother, I'll hire, some random person. Would you do that? Most probably no. Now, I understand that, of course, stuff like engineering inherently means that you need a bit more technical work, but I'll tell you the crazy truth. Farming can actually earn you way more money than engineering, yeah? Farming can get you way more money than, than software stuff, yeah? Farming can get you way more money than being a doctor or than running a hospital, all this kind of stuff. So why would you then decide to run it as something that's like, not a business, and then you decide to run other things as a business, yeah? So the one thing that's going to spiral your farm, grow your farm, make your farm unstoppable, just like, Tesla is becoming unstoppable, or just like Microsoft, or just like any other thing, is actually going through your hiring process properly and treating the farm like a goddamn business. Yeah, you've got to treat it like a business. Don't treat it like your backyard thing. I mean, farming requires a lot of money. It's very capital intensive. Yeah, this farm over here is on about 3 acres of land, almost 3 acres of land. Right now, the value of the land itself is, if I had to buy it right now, how much would I pay? Maybe about $50,000. Yeah, something close to that to buy this 3 acres right now. Yeah, so think about it. So you're going to spend $50,000 on buying land, and then you start building out the farm, and then you're not caring and concentrating on actually running it and making sure that it's profitable and it's being run well. That's really crazy. So you've got to be intentional. You've got to be intentional when it does come to the actual running and the managing of the farm. So what does that mean? It means that you actually need to hire the right people for the job. All right, so Dr. Daniel, take me through what that means, because I mean, who the hell is the right person for the job? I just have a few chickens over there, and someone is going to be looking after them. How qualified do they need to be? Well, in the end, you want the best person for the job. Now, of course, I mean, you can hire people from school. I mean, people who went and studied veterinary science and all that kind of stuff, but it's going to be really crazy expensive, and it's not something that I advise people to do, especially when you're starting out. Even later on, I personally, for example, on this farm, don't have a vet. On the bigger farm, I do have a vet, but it's because, first of all, it's a requirement by the law. But then, I mean, it reached a particular point where there was a bit of technical stuff that I required people, or I required someone who probably understands, a bit of physics and, some deep physics to do. So I needed to get a vet over there. But before that, I never really needed a vet. Yeah. So if you're going to be starting out your farm and running it, you're not going to need a vet, but you're going to need someone with brains. You're going to need someone whose brain actually functions. You'll be surprised how many people whose brains don't function. Yeah. So you have to be intentional. You need to look out for the very best people. Yeah. So what is going to be involved actually in running the farm? So think about it. You're starting, for example, a commercial layer farm. Yeah. So you're probably starting with 2,000 chickens, or let's say 1,000 chickens. You're going to need someone to ensure that there's consistently water available for the birds. You're going to need someone to mix the feed. Yeah. Someone who can, mix the feed properly. You're going to need someone who can take weights of the birds. Yeah. So that means the inherent discipline required in a person is that the person must be disciplined. Yeah, they must be disciplined, and they must be the kind of person who pays attention. They should pay a lot of caution when something is happening. Yeah, for me, for example, currently on the farm, I mean, it's been long since I last got an outbreak of disease. Very, very long. But recently, I think like a week back, I actually got a crazy outbreak. I mean, my birds, I wouldn't say it's really crazy, but my birds started coughing, like they started coughing and sneezing. Yeah, the feed consumption started decreasing, and sometimes we do have those occasions where for 1 or 2 days the consumption decreases a bit and then goes back up. But 1, 2, 3 days it was decreasing, and the egg laying was also decreasing. And then we quickly noticed that something is going wrong. Now, because I do have potent people around, people who actually can identify when issues are going wrong, we identified it really quickly and started paying keen attention really, really quickly. And because of that, I got some medication, decided to medicate or give the birds medicine. First of all, I didn't lose a single bird. Now 2 flocks were affected. Yeah, so that was about 5,000 birds that were affected, and their consumption came down, their production came down a bit, but it was only for maybe 3-4 days that the consumption came back. And so we realized the problem really early on, started the treatment, and the birds have responded. And they've actually even gotten back to even better levels than they were at even before we started this treatment. But why? It's because, we identified this issue really quickly. Yeah. So you've got to make sure that the person is keen. Yeah. I won't tell you the number of farmers who have personally come to me and told me that, hey, doctor, I do have my farm and my birds are dying. I mean, over the last 2 months or last 3 months, we just keep losing birds each and every day to cough and flu or something like that. I'm like, how the hell does that even happen? What? Because, I mean, it's a disease. Yeah, most probably, if you've been vaccinating very well, it's like a bacterial disease that can easily be treated with antibiotics. Yeah. So if you identify it early enough, you should be able to treat it and cure the birds and go back to the point before. I mean, all you need is potent people present on the farm. Yeah. Now, for me, currently, I barely spend time on the farm. Guys, I'll be honest with you, yeah? I barely spend time on the farm. And before, I was the kind of person who thought that for the farm to be successful, you needed to be present on the farm. But I barely spend time on the farm. Why? Because there is potent stuff, yeah? They're potent guys, yeah? So I actually pay attention when I'm hiring, yeah? I don't hire nonsense, yeah? So if you come around on the farm, you're not doing your stuff, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, I have no problem getting rid of you. Yeah, I have no problem letting you go home. I mean, I'll get someone else coming. Yeah, I'll get other people coming. Yeah, you want to hire the best people for the job. Everyone who comes on the team should make the team better, not worse. Now, what does that mean? Of course, when it does come to a farm, it's different if it's like a law firm where you're hiring people into the law firm. I mean, it's quite easy for you to judge that someone is significantly better than another when they are coming in. So you're trying to hire to make your team better. But when you're hiring for a farm, I mean, a lot of people who are going to come on are going to be novices. Now, what that inherently means is that you're going to be having a lot of firing and hiring. And that's what farms are about, honestly. Yeah, because again, like I've said, people don't need to be too technical. A lot of people who are going to come in don't know anything about farming, and you need to train them on the job. But first of all, do they pick up really quickly? Do they understand the concepts that you do take them through? Yeah, are they willing to learn? Yeah, are they committed to ensuring the success of the farm? Are they good communicators? So if they identify something, first of all, can they even identify that something is going wrong? Some people just can't identify that something is going wrong. Yeah, they can't identify that the chickens are not feeding as usual. They can't identify that the cow is not producing the milk that it has been producing before. Or maybe they can identify it, but for them, they never think that it's a problem. Yeah. Now, you need people who can actually identify this stuff. Yeah. Can they pay attention? Can they properly communicate? If something is going wrong, will they tell you when something is going wrong? Those are the kinds of people that you actually do need when you do need to run a farm. So for you to actually expand and literally become unstoppable as a farmer, because I mean, in the end, it's just going to come down to numbers. Yeah. For example, I do have 9,000 chickens on this farm, and I can expand to 900,000. Plain and simple. It's a game of numbers. Yeah, I can expand to all these numbers. But if I don't have the right people to manage, to look after the animals very well, to manage the treatment, then I can't expand. Yeah, because I'm going to keep having the same flock. It's not profitable. I'm losing money. The chickens keep getting sick. They keep dying. I mean, I'm losing money. Yeah. But if I do have the right team to actually do all these things, manage the birds, you have the correct manager, you have the correct staff, then everything else becomes really easy. Everything else becomes quick. Yeah. So you need to pay a lot of keen attention. Yeah. A lot of keen attention. This is the principal thing that enables you to expand beyond, I mean, numbers that are imaginable. Yeah. If you're only going to be managing everything yourself, you're never going to expand because you can't manage everything yourself. My job is managerial right now. I don't have any more technical work. I mean, once in a while I'll step in, of course, yeah, in terms of the technical work that happens on the farm. But my job is to coordinate the different people who are in charge of the different things on the farm to ensure that, everything is being done well. They'll send me reports. This one will send me this report. This one will send me this report. I'll get the sales report. I'll get the production report. I'll get the, maybe the fuel report or something like that. And then I'll just consolidate them. And then I can spend my time, focus my attention on actually coming up with great ideas, on expanding the farm, on utilizing the space around the farm. Like, proper creative ideas. And I'm not spending or wasting my time trying to tell a guy to collect eggs, trying to tell a guy to ensure that the eggs are clean, trying to tell someone else to make sure that, they deliver the eggs to the client. I mean, you don't want to be wasting your energy on such stuff. If you want to expand, you want to focus your energy and your attention on the bigger things, the things that entail growth. Now, of course, when you're starting out, you need to focus on the smaller things. But as you grow and expand, you want to focus on the bigger things, and those require that you do have a great team working with you to make that happen. So that's how you get unstoppable when it does come to farming. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, smash the notification bell, and if you've enjoyed this video, I'll leave a playlist with a lot of other videos that you'll enjoy. Click on it right here. Catch you very soon with another video. Lots of bye. Bye-bye.